the quiet math teacher who was secretly a Special Forces major. For 12 years, everyone in the small Russian city of Kostroma thought Andrei Ivanovich Sokolov was just a boring 49-year-old math teacher. Every morning he walked into school with an old briefcase full of notebooks and tests. He wore old-fashioned glasses. His voice was soft and quiet. Students laughed behind his back. Teachers joked, "Andrei only knows how to write on the blackboard with chalk." No one knew the truth. Andrei Ivanovich was actually a retired major from Russia's most elite Special Forces unit, Alpha Group. He had led 17 secret missions in Syria, Afghanistan, Yugoslavia, and other dangerous places. 12 years ago, after a terrible mission where half his team died, he quit the army and hid in this quiet town to forget the war. He wanted a normal life. He wanted peace. But peace didn't last. One day, 3 black SUVs pulled up to the school. 15 armed criminals jumped out. They shouted threats at the children and teachers. They wanted money. They wanted fear. In 90 seconds, everything changed. The quiet math teacher turned into a cold-blooded commander. With perfect moves, he knocked out all 15 men. Fast, silent, deadly. Not one student or teacher understood what really happened. They just saw their shy teacher standing calm while criminals lay on the ground. This is his story, told by himself. My name is Andrei Ivanovich Sokolov. I am 49 years old. For 12 years I have lived a double life. To the world, I am the boring math teacher from school number 7 in Kostroma. I wake up at 5:30 a.m. I do military-style push-ups and pull-ups in the courtyard while neighbors think I'm just a health nut. I drink strong tea, no sugar. I walk 20 minutes through the frozen park along the Volga River to school. I teach algebra and geometry. I grade homework every night. I live alone in a small 2-room apartment that belonged to my late aunt. But the truth? I was an Alpha Group major. 17 secret missions. Medals I can never show anyone. Nightmares every week about the friends I lost. I came here to hide. To disappear. To be invisible. But the criminals didn't let me. 3 weeks ago, a local mafia started terrorizing our city. They burned shops. They beat people who didn't pay protection money. Then they came to the schools trying to sell drugs to children. One morning I saw 3 thugs blocking a 9th-grade girl at the school gate. The leader, a tall blonde guy, was trying to force her to sell drugs for them. I stepped in. "Young man, the girl is late for class. Let her go." He laughed. "Old man, walk away before you get hurt." I didn't move. He pulled a knife. I looked him in the eyes and said calmly, "After school, if you have a problem with me, come find me alone." He thought I was crazy. He said, "Okay, Grandpa. After lessons, we'll teach you respect." That afternoon, 5 of them came back, with baseball bats and brass knuckles. I sent the night guard and the cleaning lady to hide. I walked out to meet them with empty hands. The first 2 attacked with bats. I took the first bat away and knocked him out in 2 seconds. The second got an elbow to the liver. Down. The leader pulled a gun. I froze. He asked, shaking, "Who the hell are you?" "Just a math teacher, who used to serve in Special Forces." His face went white. He fired 1 shot in the air and ran away with his men. That was only the beginning. 2 days later they sent professional killers to my apartment at night. I took them down in the dark. Silent and fast. Police came. The killers were released the next day. The mafia has friends everywhere. I understood, they will never stop. So I stopped hiding. I called my old commander. I got information on the mafia boss, Maxim Voronov. I watched his house. I learned his routes. And one Friday night, while he was in the city, I broke into his mansion. I moved like a ghost. I climbed the fence. I slipped past the guards. I found his office. I photographed secret files, bank accounts, lists of dirty cops and judges, everything that proved his crimes. Then I disappeared into the night. 2 days later, federal agents, FSB, raided his house. Voronov and his whole organization went to prison. The city became safe again. And on Monday morning, I walked into school with my old briefcase. Same quiet voice. Same old glasses. Students still whisper, "That grandpa has never even kissed a girl." If only they knew. I don't need medals. I don't need fame. I just wanted to protect my kids. Because even after 12 years of hiding, the major never really left. Some men teach math. Some men stop wars. I did both. Drop a like if you want a teacher like this in your school. Subscribe so you never miss a real-life hero story. This actually happened. The quietest man in the room is often the most dangerous. Here is the final part of the story rewritten in clear, simple English with short sentences and easy words. Perfect for YouTube or reading out loud. I climbed the stairs slowly. Stopped at the top. Listened. Complete silence. The second floor had bedrooms and the boss's office. I found the office. Big oak door, old Soviet lock. Took out my lockpicks. 2 minutes later. Click. The door opened. I slipped inside, closed it, turned on my small flashlight. The office was luxury. Huge desk, leather chair, safe in the corner, bookshelves, computer. I started with the computer. Turned it on. No password. Voronov was too confident. That was his mistake. I plugged in my USB stick and copied everything. Documents. Money tables. Photos. Secret folders. 10 minutes later, everything was mine. Then I photographed every paper on the desk. Names, addresses, payment amounts. Tried the safe. 4-digit code. Too many combinations. Tried his birthday. Nothing. Left the safe. I already had enough. But as I turned to leave, I saw a small gap behind a painting on the wall. Took the painting down. Hidden safe. Inside a thick folder. I opened it. Drug delivery contracts. List of bribed police and officials with exact bribe amounts. Blackmail photos. Jackpot. I photographed every single page, put the folder back exactly as it was, hung the painting, wiped every surface I touched. No fingerprints. No trace. Turned off the computer. Unlocked the door. Walked down the stairs like a shadow. Suddenly, footsteps in the hallway. One guard going to the toilet. I pressed myself against the wall in the dark. He walked right past me. Didn't see a thing. I slipped to the kitchen window, opened it quietly, climbed out, closed it behind me. Ran across the grass to the fence. Heart pounding. Adrenaline on fire. Used the same tree, jumped over the fence, landed in the forest. Ran 300 meters, then stopped and breathed. Mission complete. No one knew I was ever there. I walked through the forest to the road. My taxi driver was half asleep. I knocked on the window. He jumped. "Wow, you're back. Good fishing." I smiled. "Best catch of my life. Let's go home." That night I studied the files until morning. There was enough proof to send Voronov and his entire gang to prison for 20+ years. Saturday morning I called Colonel Kravtsov. "Sir, I have the package. Sending it encrypted right now." He answered, "Perfect, Andrei. This is more than enough. FSB will move in 1 week. Stay low." The next days were calm. Voronov had no idea his house was robbed by a ghost. Monday I went back to school like nothing happened. Same old briefcase. Same quiet voice. But on the third lesson, knock on the door. The old janitor ran in, white as paper. "Andrei Ivanovich. Armed men. Lots of them. They want you downstairs now." My blood went cold. They came for me. I told the class, "Lock the door. Don't open for anyone." Walked down to the principal's office. 6 masked men with Kalashnikovs. Professional hit squad. The school principal was tied up and gagged. The blonde thug from the first fight stood next to her and smiled. "Hello again, teacher. Boss wants you alive for now." They gave me 5 minutes. Then, "Come out to the yard or we start shooting teachers and kids. 1 every 10 minutes. I walked outside. 15 armed men total. 3 black SUVs. This was war. They tied my hands behind my back with zip ties, pushed me into an SUV, drove straight to Voronov's mansion. Inside the big hall, Maxim Voronov sat in a leather chair smoking a cigar. He looked at me and laughed. So the famous Major Sokolov, now just a boring math teacher. You made a big mistake, old man. He hit me hard across the face. Blood ran from my lip. I didn't even blink. That made him angrier. They tied me to a chair. Started beating. Professional hits to the body. Asked questions. Who helps you? Who in the police? Who in FSB? I said nothing. Voronov got up. You'll talk, or you'll die very slowly. Suddenly, boom. A huge explosion at the gates. Then gunfire everywhere. Voronov jumped up. What the hell? A guard looked out the window and shouted, Boss! Spetsnaz! They're storming the house. The door exploded open. Black masks, lasers, shouts. Hands up. Weapons down. Short, brutal firefight. 3 of Voronov's men dead. The rest wounded or surrendered. Voronov shot in the shoulder, screaming on the floor. A Spetsnaz captain cut my ropes. Andrei Ivanovich, you okay? He took off his mask. It was Morozov, my former soldier. Colonel Kravtsov sent us the whole team the moment they kidnapped you. I smiled through the blood. You guys are fast. 2 days later I was out of the hospital. Voronov and 30 of his men, arrested. The whole criminal group, destroyed. School safe. Kids safe. When I walked back into school, everyone clapped and cried. The principal hugged me. Students looked at me like I was a superhero. No one ever laughed behind my back again. A few months later I married Olga Viktorovna, the kind Russian language teacher who always smiled at me. Small wedding. Happy wedding. Colonel Kravtsov came from Moscow with a big smile and a toast, to the best damn math teacher in Russia. We lived quietly and happily. I became school director, built a military patriotic club for the older kids, taught them discipline, first aid, how to survive. Many of my students became officers. Good ones. 5 years passed. One evening Olga asked me to tell her everything about my past. I did. She listened, then hugged me and said, I was scared, but I love you more than I'm scared. Later the army called again, wanted me to train new special forces. I thought long, talked with Olga. She said, Go if your heart calls. I'll wait. I went for 2 years, trained the new generation, saved lives by teaching them what I knew. Then my friend Igor got hurt in an accident. The school needed a director again. I came home for good. The army let me go with honor. Now I am just Andrei Ivanovich, school director, math teacher, husband, and quiet hero of a small town. Every morning I walk into class with my old briefcase. Kids still think I'm a little boring. They have no idea that the quietest man in the room once took down an entire mafia in 90 seconds, then went back to teaching algebra like nothing happened. Some men fight wars. Some men teach children. I did both. And I finally found peace. If you liked this real-life hero story, hit like, subscribe, and write in the comments. Respect to all quiet heroes. Red Heart. Here is the final chapter. The quiet, beautiful ending, written in simple, powerful English with short sentences. Perfect for the last minutes of a YouTube video or a heartfelt read. 10 more years passed like a calm river. Olga's daughter Maria, 28, doctor in Moscow, and son Alexei, 30, engineer in St. Petersburg, always called me stepdad and treated me with respect. Andrei Ivanovich, thank you for making Mom happy again. She was alone for so long. Olga's 3 little grandchildren, 5 to 10 years old, called me Grandpa. Every summer they came to Kostroma. I taught them how to fish, how to swim, how to find berries in the forest. I told them stories about animals and stars, never about war. That chapter was closed. The neighbors loved us. Andrei Ivanovich and Olga Viktorovna, the perfect couple, the old lady said on the bench outside. Always quiet, always ready to help. But some nights the war came back in dreams. Explosions. Screams. Faces of friends I lost. I woke up sweating. Olga held me. It's over, Andrei. You're safe. The war is finished. I smiled sadly. For soldiers, the war never completely ends. But I learned to live with it. One September, a familiar face walked into my office. Lieutenant Colonel Morozov, gray hair now, but the same strong eyes. He saluted like the old days. Andrei Ivanovich. Colonel Kravtsov sends an invitation. Big reunion next month in Moscow. 50 years of our unit. He wants you there. I went. 200 veterans in one hall. Medals, flags, memories. We stood 1 minute in silence for the friends who never came home. I looked at their photos on the wall. My best friend, Captain Volkov, was there. I whispered, "I'm sorry, brother." I tried. After the ceremony, old Colonel Kravtsov pulled me aside. "Andrei, we need you again, not to fight, just to think. Be our secret consultant. Once a month we send you files about mafia groups. You read, you advise, you stay home safe. No danger." I said yes. For the next 15 years I worked from my kitchen table. I helped destroy 12 big criminal gangs. Hundreds of lives saved. No one ever knew, except Olga and a few generals. 5 years ago they gave me the Order for Merit to the Fatherland, 2nd class. The ceremony was in our school gym. All the children clapped. A 16-year-old girl asked, "Sir, do you regret leaving Special Forces to become a teacher?" I smiled. "No, Anna. A country needs soldiers. And it needs teachers. Both protect the future. I'm proud of both lives." One evening Olga looked at my medal on the wall. "Andrei, I was always afraid you would go back to the war and never return. But you chose a different way to serve, and you stayed with me. That was the bravest choice of all." I took her hand. Real heroism isn't only on the battlefield. It's also in the classroom, raising good people. Years kept rolling. I turned 72. Olga 71. We retired, but I still teach one math lesson a week to the oldest class. I can't let go completely. Teaching is in my blood. We spend summers at our little dacha. I fix the fence. Olga grows flowers and tomatoes. Grandchildren run around laughing. Evenings we sit on the porch, drink tea, watch the sunset over the Volga River. My old commander, General Kravtsov, passed away. I stood at his grave and saluted one last time. "Thank you, sir. You were more than a commander. You were family." Morozov became a general. Dmitry Novikov, the boy I once sent to military school, is now a colonel. He named his daughter after my wife, Olga. He wrote, "Little Alia just started school. She wants to be a math teacher, like her godfather." When I read that letter, I cried, happy tears. Today I sit in my favorite chair. The medal hangs on the wall. Outside, the Volga flows quietly. Children play in the street. Life is peaceful. I served my country for 22 years with a rifle. I served her for 25 years with a blackboard and chalk. 47 years of service in total. Now I rest, knowing I did everything I could. Some men are remembered for the enemies they killed. I want to be remembered for the children I taught. Doctors, engineers, officers, good people who make the world better. That is my real victory. The sun is going down. Olga calls from the kitchen. "Andrei, dinner is ready." I stand up slowly, smile, and walk to her. We hold hands at the table, say thank you for the food, for peace, for each other. This is the end of the story of the math teacher who hid for 12 years that he once commanded Special Forces missions abroad. It is a story about duty, about love, about choosing every day to protect people. Sometimes with weapons, sometimes with knowledge. Real strength is not in how many you can defeat. Real strength is what you leave behind. I left behind hundreds of students who will make Russia better. That is enough. Thank you for listening to my life. If this story touched you, write in the comments. Respect to all quiet heroes. And remember, the most dangerous man in the room is often the quietest one, especially if he teaches math. Red Heart. The end.